There we go.
There we go.
We're live.
Okay, we are live.
We're outside, you guys, underneath the covering, so, and it's starting to rain, so apologies. Hopefully you can hear us over the rain. Yeah.
So I am Margie Fink with Transfiguring Adoption, and this is the fabulous...
I'm Darren Fink.
And we are here for our weekly caregiver check-in. We do this every week at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to just check in with folks, see how they're doing. It's a great chance for caregivers to come on, share advice, tips, get ideas, ask questions, and it's a time that also we have former foster youth or adoptees often check in with us. We have other professionals in the field check in, and sometimes we have just interested folks who don't know much about foster care and adoption and just kind of plug in here to get connected. So welcome, everybody. It is June.
It is June.
We are in our new home in Florida. So if you are hearing thunder or rain, that's because it is storming here, which is typical of a summer Florida afternoon. And we aren't quite totally moved into our office yet. So here we are sitting outside.
We are sitting outside. So yeah, and I don't know if Margie mentioned, because I'm still trying to make it so that everyone can get in here, and I'm trying to social media it up. Go ahead and please, if you are watching, hey Cynthia, glad to have you here. Go ahead and please invite, hit the share button on this, and let other people know that you're watching, because this is a time for us, Margie and I, to facilitate conversation for everyone and not to bring conversation for everyone. So we want you guys to bring your advice, suggestions, and your questions live here, and we'll help facilitate that so that everyone can get some great advice and get some answers. But we can only do that if we have a lot of people in here talking, and we've had some great conversations over the last few months with everyone. So just share, go ahead and hit the share button and let everyone know that you're talking with us right now, and so we can get some great conversation going. Also, I'll let you know that we are on YouTube and we're on Facebook Live right now. So if you have friends on Facebook or that aren't on YouTube, tell them to go to Facebook and vice versa. And go ahead and comment anytime that you are ready to do anything. But we do have some things to talk about so that we're not just sitting here in silence.
All right. So as he's kind of finishing up getting people welcomed and all of that online here, I will share. We have books that get sent to us from Jessica Kingsley Publishing so that we can review them. And one of the ones that we've received lately is the A to Z of Therapeutic Parenting, Strategies and Solutions. I don't know, can YouTube see me? I can't see your screen, so I don't know if they can see me.
They can.
Okay. By Sarah Naish. We've reviewed some of her books for children. Is this the first one we've received that's in for the grown-ups? For
grown-ups, yeah.
Yeah.
So normally we receive things for children, and so usually in Transfiguring Adoption, I'm the one to help review things for children, and Margie and some of our volunteers field the grown-up books. So
which take a lot more time. They
do take a lot more time.
But we also wanted to say we are going to be reviewing this soon, but we wanted to let you know, if you haven't seen it, we have posted, is it just on Facebook that we've posted about her contest that she's doing?
Yeah, it is on Facebook. She has a contest going on right now.
Yeah, so she's running a Facebook contest where you can win your own free copy. So if you go up in our feed, it's been very recent that we posted.
Here, if you keep talking, I'll find it and I'll share it.
Okay. So I'm excited about this. I'm actually probably going to be reading this one. We've got another great volunteer who's been picking up a lot of the slack that I've kind of just in the last several months with moving and some different things going on. I haven't been able to review quite so much, so I am ready to dig into this one. And then you've got me the other one over there.
So what, did you read what that one was about by chance?
Okay.
Yeah, let them know what that's about.
Therapeutic parenting is a deeply nurturing parenting style and is especially effective for children with attachment difficulties or those who have experienced trauma. This book provides everything you need to know in order to be able to effectively therapeutically parent. The A to Z of Therapeutic Parenting gives parents and caregivers an easy-to-follow step-by-step process to use when responding to common behaviors and challenges presented by traumatized children. Topics range from acting aggressively to difficulties with sleep and include advice on what might trigger these issues and how to respond to them therapeutically in order to start to resolve these challenges. Easy to navigate and written in a quick reference, straightforward style, this book is a must-have for all therapeutic parents. So I'm excited to dig into this one.
And I'll give you the kids book while I'm still trying to put the link up here for people that want to win the contest.
Okay, so this one is all about Ben, helping children with attachment issues to understand their feelings. So here, YouTube, I don't think you can see it from over there.
Oh, there's a little bit of a glare.
Oh,
that's okay. Oh,
there we go.
Yay,
okay.
There's Ben.
So Dorothy Markham and Aileen O'Donnell are the authors, and it was illustrated by Aileen O'Donnell. So this will be one of our next children's books that we'll be reviewing. So we'll be getting that up on our website soon.
Okay. Very cool, you guys. And let me see that real quick. Did you read the back of that one either?
No.
You didn't? Wow, you're out of practice.
I am so out of practice.
All right. So you're new here, huh?
No.
So let me read the back of this. And of course, we are going to be reviewing both of these books on transfiguringadoption.com. And giving you, as always, we have our 1 to 5 hoot grading scale. So just to let you know about our grading scale, we have 1 to 5 hoots, just kind of like Rotten Tomatoes does movies. We do this for all media. 3, if we give it 3 hoots, that's fantastic. We endorse that. We are all about it. That's what we think the base level should be for media for you guys. We think it has quality. There's like some intellectual meat there. There's stuff for your family there. When it starts to go to 2 and 1, that's when we're kind of saying, well, maybe you should question it. But let me go ahead and read the back of this book, and I haven't even looked at it yet, to be honest, so I'll let you know here, and hopefully in a few weeks, what I think of it. This reassuring story helps children aged 5+ with attachment issues to understand their feelings, open up to caring adults, and learn how to choose positive behaviors. Ben is made up of a lot of different parts. To name a few, he has happy, caring, angry, excited, hugging, and yelling parts. Ben explains how all these parts are okay, and that a caring adult can help you to understand and manage them more easily. This book also features activities to help children talk about their feelings and a simple introduction to attachment theory for adults. And just a little bit on Dorothy Markham. She's the founder of a therapeutic residential childcare organization in the UK. And Aileen O'Donnell is a registered nurse and artist. Okay, so very cool. So it sounds like they definitely know what they're doing. Thanks for the hearts over there. I don't know who sent that one, but thanks a lot. Hey, Kathy's on here. Hi, Kathy. And I'll say it again, if you guys want to go ahead, as we're starting the conversation here, if you want to hit your share button on Facebook or YouTube and just let people know that we're doing this and get the word out there so that we can have better conversation with everyone. Because the more people we have giving advice, tips, and suggestions and questions, the better conversation we're going to have. So yeah, I think these books look really cool. So let me see that one again. So I want to know from you guys, we have 2 very different books because we have a children's book and we have a grown-up book. So again, if you're just joining us, we have Sarah Nasha's The A to Z of Therapeutic Parenting. And then over here we have All About Ben, helping children with attachment issues to understand their feelings. Which one of these books do you feel would be more beneficial for your family? Or which one are you drawn to more to read? I'm just curious about that. Which one of these 2 books are you thinking, interesting? Or maybe both, or maybe neither one of them. So let me know that. I'm curious about that. Which one do you think? Which one? You said you were kind of excited about the A to Z.
I'm excited about that. I think this one would be very helpful with kids. I mean, we're talking about 2 different audiences, so it's kind of hard.
2 completely different audiences, but I think as adults you can be drawn. Shelby says both.
And Cynthia says well, it says Z to Z. I think she said it's supposed to be A to Z. They're right next to each other on the keyboard.
Wendy says, sorry to change the subject. Hello, so glad you are both home and back together.
Yeah,
thanks,
for
Wendy.
what, for 2 weeks?
Oh my goodness, it's been crazy.
Well, no, I'm saying 2 more weeks.
Oh.
And then you're going to be driving. That's Monday, I don't know, July
the dust
1st
hasn't settled yet.
Yeah, we're hitting the summer, like where we start heading out to conventions and such like that. So, and Wendy says the adult book. Christina says both sound good, but you love kids books. Yeah,
I do. I like the kids books a lot.
And I think it's great because, you know, one thing that we've said, yeah, she says I, not you. You know, one thing that really inspired us in the beginning to even start doing what we're doing here is the fact that, you know, there's a lot of great books at the library that you can pick up, you know, that those books like Mommy Had You in Her Tummy and She Loves You Forever and Brought You Home from the Hospital, that kind of stuff. But that's just not our kids' stories. And there are great books out there that our kids can relate to or that can help them process, but they're not always easy to find. And sometimes, there might be something in there that might be specifically triggering to your child. So it's great, that's one of the things that kind of inspired us to start doing the reviews too, so that parents kind of knew what was in the book and they would have an idea of if there was some trauma triggers or anything like that. Hey, Diana, haven't talked to you in forever. Yeah, so.
Diana's not on mine. Why didn't I see where she's
Diana. On Facebook.
Oh, okay. Well, no, but I'm looking at Facebook. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, I thought you were.
Wow, there's so many fun friends here. Thanks, everyone. Glad to see everyone here. So the books are like really close to us. Since I'm a graphic artist and an artist, I really enjoy the kids' books because I think the images and the graphics really speak to children, and I think they can really get to them more than anything else. I think, the thunder thought so too, if you guys didn't hear that. So yeah, like I feel like there's so much going on with the senses with younger kids that I feel like the children's books are just fun because I get to dive into not just the intellectual part, but there's just so much going on.
There's so much that can be conveyed through there's one book that we've reviewed on our website, and you can check it out. The Boy Who Built a Wall Around Himself. And just with the shading and the color and different things, there's so much that was communicated. Even some of very young children or children who have learning disabilities and stuff were able to really connect just with the artistry in the book and understand concepts just with the illustrations.
Yeah, for sure. So, and I know that I've said this more than once, and you guys, those of you that have been on here a while are getting tired of me, but we've had more friends join. If you can go ahead, and thank you for everyone that shared. If you can hit the share button again and just let everyone know that you're watching this so that we can get more folks in here giving us advice and tips. And again, just so that you know, if you don't know how this works, Margie and I start the conversation off like we have just now with the books. And that's fine. We can keep talking about these books, or we can talk about some other stuff that Margie had thought of. Or we can, if you guys have advice or tips that you've learned or questions,
a topic that you'd like to discuss,
please break in. We are watching on YouTube and Facebook. We're watching the comments. So we will change topic and we will get to what you need to talk about. So, yeah. Yay!
And a little disclaimer, we are just foster adoptive parents. We are not medical or therapeutic necessarily advice.
All the small print mumbo jumbo to say, please don't sue us. Our nonprofit is not going to be able to pay you off. So that's good. It sounds like a lot of people want to read the A to Z book, like from Sarah Naish. Yeah. And again, I put here, you know what? I will pin it to the top for a little while anyways. If you go over to Sarah Naish's website, you can click on that and you will be able to go to her Facebook page where she has a contest where you could win your own book, The A to Z Therapeutic Parenting. We have not reviewed it yet. So yeah, it'd be fun for you to read it while we're reading it, and we could compare notes and see what you think. So yeah. So let us know. I'm glad everyone thinks the A to Z book looks interesting. I'm excited to see about it too. So, yeah. Okay. Well, keep letting us know what you think about that. I will tell you also that while I'm waiting for anyone to have some questions or comments.
Okay.
Oh, so Cynthia says,
I'd love to know more about what's in her book. Is there a table of contents? Yes. Well, I'm assuming there is.
And I'm going to give a quick shout out. Crystal Zachary says, hey, from Noble, Oklahoma. The book looks great. Hey to Noble, Oklahoma. Okay, and Cynthia wants to know more about the book, so Margie's looking into it.
So it actually starts out as saying how to use this book. Part 1 is the basics, and Part 2 is the A to Z. So I think Part 1 is going to be more an overview of behaviors and what trauma can lead to, and then the A to Z I think is more, some of specific specific behaviors and stuff and how to handle them. Let's see. I don't see an actual table of contents.
I'm actually pretty impressed that For an A to Z, well, it just had a letter. I'm curious what the letters are because I'm expecting a smaller, like usually when people label A to Z books, they're trying for something concise
Well,
and
this
that you
is
can
not
read through
like
quick.
it's not like there's one thing for each letter in here. Like I just happen to be in the S's. So we have like sibling rivalry, sleep issues, strategies.
So it almost sounds like I want to say a dictionary or like a.
Yeah. So smoking, sleepwalking.
So it's almost
behaviors.
It almost sounds to me like it's not so much an A to Z guide as much as it is
social media issues. That's it.
Ooh, social media issues is in there. It sounds more like encyclopedia, like the A to Z encyclopedia for foster care or therapeutic. I don't know.
Well, and see, here's the thing. So it says like, it says okay. So
all we're seeing is you looking down.
Okay. Well, and you're getting a glare, so you're not going to see anything.
Well, I'll try it here. So in there, whoop, there's Facebook can see it. That's kind of what is you're seeing, and then over here on YouTube, oh, you're seeing it backwards too. That's fine, isn't
it? Yeah. So under stealing, it has like little, and parenthetically, see also food issues, but so different ones like staying in bed, see defiance, lateness, moving slowly. So it's linking some of those different behaviors together. But so it says stealing, it shows what it looks like, and then specifically bullet points out different behaviors of what stealing looks like, and then bullet points of why it might happen. Reality check, which I don't know exactly what that means yet. It's like I said, I haven't even flipped through here yet. Preventative strategies, and one thing that I have spoken with parents a lot about before is the easiest way to deal with behaviors is often preventing them. So if there's things that you can do to help your child to just prevent some of the behaviors from even coming about, it's really helpful. I had a family I was working with, and they said, "Now, what do I do about this?" And and helping them trying to figure out what can I do. We have things in our house that we do. We know certain kids really struggle with impulses of certain behaviors, and if we kind of remove some of that temptation, it helps them to deal with it better. Strategies during, so it'll have the behavior and then what to do during the behavior, strategies after. So yeah, so that's kind of how each behavior is looked at. And yeah, it looks like the beginning is more of just kind of what therapeutic parenting looks like, the whys, the hows, that kind of thing.
Okay, so I hope that helped. I forget who asked that question.
Cynthia.
Was it Cynthia? I hope that helps, Cynthia.
Yeah, let me know if you have more questions and I can flip through.
Okay, and our Instagram friends just joined us right now, so I will. Hey, I'm going to get Wendy had a question. I'm going to get to Wendy's question, and then I'm going to get over to what Christina was saying. But just for everyone to know too, real quick, Margie and I facilitate the conversation. If you have questions, advice, suggestions, please throw those in now, because even if people aren't watching it live, they are going to see it here, and we do go through and read everything, and so do our volunteers. Our leadership volunteers look through stuff and we answer questions and different things. So give those comments, hit that like button and that love button. We love to see it. And go ahead and hit the share button so that more people know that we're talking. We do this every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wendy said that her son will be leaving residential treatment. Leaving two residential treatments. Sorry, that's a big difference.
Yes.
2 residential treatment finally. I have a lot of guilt of him going, but while I have a lot of fear this won't work, how do I deal with my own feelings and keep my son as a part of our household while he is gone? Okay, I'm going to pin that to the top because I want everyone to kind of concentrate on that for a little while.
And Christina already answered her while we were talking about the book. She said, we visited, we wrote letters, we made it so that talking about our son was normal, even though he wasn't there. We also had phone calls weekly when their child was in residential. The feelings of guilt come and go and come back again. It's a day by day. We've also had a child in residential, and we did similar. We had weekly phone calls because there was family therapy, and so that's one of the components. So once a week, we had to be on the phone, and then every so many weeks, usually about once a month, we made the drive. It was about a 3-hour drive to where our child was in residential, and we would go. One of the times we took the other kids along, and then kind of had more of a family session with the whole family. But it was, I think I actually blogged. Did I blog once about that?
You might have.
Yeah, I did. There's a blog that I wrote.
I'll find it. Go ahead.
Where I kind of went through some of our experiences a little bit. It was more actually about how to respond to a parent. So if you have someone that's questioning your decision, it's kind of
right. Because I feel
like more what I blogged about was more of the how to approach parents who are having to make that tough decision, because it is a really tough decision and there is a lot of guilt. But sometimes that is a decision that has to be made.
Right, and let's talk about that for a little while. Like, I think it is a tough decision because I don't think people usually make that sort of thing. Like, at least there are people that make that decision lightly, and we hear about a lot of caregivers. We hear about a lot of the caregivers that have gone wrong or not received help. And we hear that in the media because that sells airspace, it sells commercials. But a lot of us are trying to do the best that we can, and we don't make decisions like that lightly. And so there is a lot of guilt, I think, and you feel judged I feel like even if people aren't judging you, you put that judgment there and you feel like people are judging you for putting your kid into that arena. So I feel like it is important to, like, it sounds selfish, but I think it is important to figure out how to deal with that, because you've got to go on and move on. And if you're not being successful, you're not going to be able to help your child who is going through it. And really, if your child is in residential, wouldn't you say that they're receiving help?
Well, they should be.
They should be.
They should be. And that's where one of her fears that it's not going to work can be a very real fear. I feel like there were parts when our child was in residential that maybe wasn't wonderful, where maybe they didn't follow advice from some of our children's other therapists, or there were some things that we kind of questioned. But I have a friend right now who's dealing with a residential program, and they did horrible things there that were not helpful to her child. So it can be, it's very nerve-wracking, because when you're not there, I mean, even any parent, there are periods of time, I mean, even when your kid's at school, you don't have control over what's happening there, and sometimes things aren't helpful.
And Wendy, I found the blog that Margie was talking about, so I'm going to tag you in the comments here, and you can read that and see if you agree, disagree with it, or find it helpful at all.
So one question would be, so there's concern about the 3-year-old losing her brother, and that's, I don't know if they've kind of given you a set kind of therapy, what the length would be, and that kind of thing.
She said this is court ordered too. He'll be getting help, but I also worry about him being safe. I can't protect him.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I want to hear what other, thanks, Crystal.
And actually,
so I do want to, like, this is us talking a lot, but we do want you guys to chime in on this, and we will go back to what other people are saying. And hey, Jason on Instagram for joining us. Long time no see.
I'm not seeing that one on.
Okay, so Crystal says, the first time your loved one goes residential is really hard. It's perfectly normal to feel guilty, but you're doing what is best for your family and your loved one. You're trying to keep your family safe, sending prayers. My daughter is on a waiting list for residential again, sending love and hugs your way. Aw, Crystal, that's awesome. Thank you so much for the love sending Wendy's way. That is great.
And I will say, when you talk about keeping your kids safe, actually, while our child was in residential, and this is kind of one of our biggest things, he actually was kicked in the face through no fault of his own, was doing nothing, was minding his own business, was actually bending over. He's a little OCD about his shoes, so he was, cleaning his shoes or something. And another child who'd come from trauma, something triggered him, and he just kind of went loose on whoever was around, and our son got kicked in the face, and his jaw was broken. We were actually out of town in another city at a convention for transfiguring adoption, and got some weird phone calls from the nurse, but then I think they were very concerned that we were going to sue them or something. So they weren't
right.
kind of very forthright about kind of what was going on. They weren't sharing information.
At least we got that vibe.
Yeah. And there was just some things in the weeks after. And then, so basically the last 5-6 weeks that he was in residential, his jaw was wired shut. So we were kind of like, we understand kids who've been through trauma. We understand that, with as many staff as you can have, think something like that could happen. But then those last 5-6 weeks that he was in residential, he was unable to speak, which meant that really what therapy is going on so much when he can't speak. His jaw was fully wired shut. They had to put him on a different unit. So he had, just things you don't think about, because you have to have wire cutters if your jaws are wire shut. And I think they don't allow those.
I think what you can learn from that story, though, in the short, though, is that, you're still, when your child was home, you still worried, you were still concerned, and you were still fighting as hard as you could for them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to stop just because they're in residential and they're getting professional help. You're still going to worry about them. You're still going to be concerned about things, and you're still going to have to fight for them because there are just things you're going to have to fight for in there. Hey, Tanya, I'm glad you're here. But yeah, you're always going to have to fight for. Is that what everyone else thinks too? And if you're joining us, we're talking. Just so you know, you can comment about your advice, suggestions, or questions at any time. Right now, we are talking about Wendy is talking about sending her son is going into residential treatment, and she's just wanting advice or suggestions on how to deal with that and deal with the guilt and her own feelings with having to send them.
The fear that when someone else is taking care of your child and you can't be there.
Yeah, that is rough. Wendy, I just want to say that you are doing the right thing. Don't question what's going on. It sounds like it's court ordered. So really, you have no choice anyways. You've done the best that you can. And I can say this from experience with us, having to go through the same thing. You're doing the best you can. And sometimes your best means that you need some help, and that's not a bad thing. It just means that your child has been through more trauma than you can deal with, or maybe any one person can deal with. And so they're just going to need some extra help. It means it's not anything to do with you. You have done a phenomenal job by trying to help him overcome things, right? Like
Crystal says, it's all part of being a parent. You have to fight for your kids because no one else will.
Is that one new, Christina's?
Yeah.
Okay. So Christina says, we have a 15-year-old, 11-year-old, 8-year-old, 6-year-old, 5-year-old, and 4-year-old. The child that went to residential is 10 and bio to the 4 and 8-year-old. Okay. The 4-year-old does still struggle. Unfortunately, our situation's child is not able to return to us. We are maintaining relationship in his new foster home. This was all after multiple stays, and safety continued to be an issue in our home. He has reactive attachment disorder, and we just couldn't get a safe place with him here. The guilt is real daily, but the continued relationship with the new family is great. The 4-year-old really struggles, though. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Christina. That's right. Thank you so much, you guys, because I think these really do help other people. I know that there's struggles of yours. And just let me say that Margie and I can totally empathize with that, because we have the same guilt and struggles, and that we did have a child that went to residential. He wasn't allowed to come back to our house while we were in Tennessee, and so we definitely had to deal with that guilt of, even though he lived less than 2 miles away, he was not allowed over at our house to live. And so it was very hard. I remember that first time when he came back to the city we lived in after being in residential. And it was just weird because I just kept telling Margie, I don't know how to do this because I'm his dad, but he's not in my house. But he's not a grown-up. He's still going to school, but he's not in my house. So how am I a dad to him because he's a high school student, but he's not in my house now? And there was a lot of guilt there. It's just weird. It's different. I don't know. How do you find works best? How do you deal with it? How do you go forward?
Okay,
what do you think?
Some of those.
Okay. So Crystal rather says, that's all a part about being a parent. You have to fight for kids. No one else will. That's true. You do. Wendy says she had knee replacement 3 weeks ago. He has attacked me 3 times, so I know it's for him. I just have a hard time while he's gone. I don't sleep well at all. Yeah, I can relate to that. It's strange and unusual, and you're dealing with your emotions. I think that's true. Trauma parenting is hard. Crystal says trauma parenting is hard. Try to take time for family as as well while your loved one is inpatient. Try to do some self-care. Self-care is easier said than done. And I know everyone talks about that, and we're always have caseworkers telling us self-care, self-care, self-care. And we come to things like this and we're saying stuff. But yeah, I think especially while you're trying to deal with those issues as he's inpatient and he's just going in there. One thing I will say is when our kiddo went to residential, probably the first 2 or 3 weeks, we were on such high alert and we didn't even realize how anxious we were and high alert because it was 24/7 supervision to make sure our other kids were safe, that anytime there was the slightest noise or door opened or closed, both of us would jump up out of our seats because we were running to go check on that kid to see if he was doing something to someone else or if he had escaped the house, and we were just constantly doing this. And that's when I really realized we needed to take a break and there was stuff we needed to do around the house and we didn't. We just vegged and did nothing because we just needed time for our bodies to recover and our minds to recover.
Mm-hmm. And Wendy, being a single parent isn't helping that.
That's totally true.
Our hearts totally go out to you, Wendy, because there is at least we get to tag off at times.
Lynn says, great to see you two. Spoke to you two a while ago and have been very busy growing SOS, about to release our website later today. Loving what you're doing. People need to be made aware of the trauma that children suffer from no matter what the reason for being separated from their natural family. Yeah, exactly. Just even being separated from natural family is trauma enough, right? Thanks, Lynn. Those are some kind words. Thank you so much. Again, if you guys get a chance, if you can share out that you're watching this so we get more people to watch, or just even, we appreciate all the likes and the hearts, and it just keeps us, just so you know, Transfiguring Adoption is a 501c3. We are always looking for businesses that will help support us so we can get more resources out to people. No, Margie and I are the co-founders. No one on Transfiguring Adoption is paid staff. So everything that we do is on a volunteer basis and donated. So even the kind words just help keep us going because we're like, you can hear us talking. We're in this with you guys. We have our own guilt and things from trauma, kiddo stuff that we're dealing with. So yeah, we're not perfect and we're trying to figure this out along with you guys. So everything, all the kind words, if you get us in front of a business so that they can help sponsor us so we can get more resources to you guys, or just even kind words so we keep going, always help. Yeah, okay, let me tell you. So Wendy is saying that over $600 in babysitting. That is a true story. Mm-hmm. And then you're looking at your budget going, so I guess I'm a hermit now, mm-hmm. and I don't know how I'm going to make it. And a lot of times, I don't know if this is Wendy's story, but a lot of times there are caregivers, they don't even know that they signed on for that because they don't know, like the agency might not even know that the issues that the child had. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you're signing on for a $600 babysitting bill that you didn't know was coming.
Yeah.
So self-care is a little hard after that, right? Thanks, Crystal. Really appreciate the words, you guys. And again, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but it does, you guys understand it. Just someone telling you that you're doing an awesome job helps you keep going. And I hope you're hearing that from us too, that we thank you guys, especially Wendy and everyone that's talking about sending kids to residential. I think the pitfall is to blame yourself or to think that you could have done more. And maybe
yeah, or if you have other kids in your house who, I mean, we had some of that too. Even other kids in the house feeling guilty or mm-hmm. something like.
And that's I think where it needs to start is, and I mean, I don't know anyone personally on here necessarily, so I can't. But I'm going to blanket say, probably you might have been able to do more, but probably not. And you probably did the best you could. And this is just part of the tools that you need. I mean, you could have read books, you could have watched a video. This is just sending your kid to residential. It's just another tool in your tool belt that you needed to utilize. And one thing, like Margie was saying, is we did have a child that felt guilty that they were blaming themselves for sending this child to residential. And we needed that other child to be in residential so we could help this other child in our home deal with issues safely and understand things. And I will say, even years and years and years and years later, this child, the other child, is still dealing with the guilt. and because of the age, is still dealing with some things. So
yeah,
it's
well, that's kind of like this
process.
whole like Wendy is saying, I miss the sweet child he was prior to adoption, and that's the thing that with kids who've come from trauma, when they get to new ages or new stages, and being adopted, that is a stage, because you're kind of it's a new status. Things change in terms of who's coming in and out of the house and visits and all the different things. But as the kids grow, sometimes you can feel like things have kind of leveled out, and then they go through a new stage of development. And as they're developing, they start processing things differently through a different lens as an older child. And you can see these changes in behavior, or kind of regressing, recycling behaviors that kind of morph into new behaviors. So,
and someone I had, so it's so much fun because we do what we do. Kind of some of the perks are is we do get to talk with some kids that have been through the foster care system or adult adoptees that have made it. And one of the adoptees that we've had the privilege of talking with is, I forget his name, Diego Fuller. And he is a very accomplished rap artist. He's also, I believe he's done some parts in some films also. I think he said that I think he told me that last time.
Upcoming, I don't know if.
Okay, maybe, okay. So we haven't talked to Diego in a while.
He popped in here like a few weeks ago, but.
So the great part about talking with people like him is that I know one time when I was talking with him online, he said, this isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. Like, I think we always want to look in the here and now for changes, and really, like, since we're getting to the point where it's been like, what, a decade of taking our kids through that foster care adoption process, we're able to look back and see if we remember, take the time and force ourselves to remember where we came from.
Or you have those aha moments.
Yes.
I'm actually going to blog about one of those aha moments pretty soon. I've got some blogs that I've started, but one of the ones that I had years ago, even we were probably 3 years in or so. It was actually, we were going to celebrate the kids' adoptions, and we were at Disney. We were Universal or just, I don't know, we were somewhere. And one of the kiddos was like in a corner, like not making any noise, but there was totally a kind of fit rage going on, but just a very silent one. And I remember, like, in the moment being upset, like, hey, we're here, like it was something.
I'm just gonna break in. Hey, Jack, glad to see you. So glad you're here.
In the moment, kind of being upset with the child just because it was something really, like, seemed really silly. And I thought, okay, like 2 years ago, this would have been a 3-hour rage, and things would have gotten broken, and bad things would have happened. And it's sometimes looking in those moments and going, okay, we've come really far.
Yeah, it's true. And I'll just catch, since I've seen some people cycle through on here, and some familiar faces have gotten on and off. So we're talking about, Wendy brought up that she has a kiddo going to residential treatment, and she's just wanting advice, suggestions,
Everybody's
thoughts.
Kind of talking about the fears and the guilt and how to keep the families connected and all of that.
Right, specifically the fear and the guilt that the caregiver feels as they're watching the child go off to residential. So that's just kind of catching everyone up there. Yeah, absolutely. There are, I think the thing too that I have to remember is, since we have so many, it seems like as caregivers, we have so many of these times where we're constantly, I mean, what Wendy's talking about too, as a single mom, you're amazing. Because sometimes I just think, I don't know what we would do if we couldn't tag team it. You're amazing, first off. We have to deal with so many issues coming at us all the time that I feel like you have to like when there's a moment where there are those moments where everything just kind of sinks together, and you're like, you go to bed and you're like, wow, we had a good night tonight. And like, they're few and far between, it seems like, but I feel like you have to celebrate those. And you just have to, like, I feel like things want to come in and be like, yeah, but they didn't do this, or yeah, but we got to deal, or yeah. Like, I feel like you just have to stop and be like, hey, thanks for the love, you guys. Lots of hearts going up. I feel like you have to stop and just be like, no, I'm just going to concentrate that it was a good night. And because tomorrow we're going to have to deal with stuff.
As parents of kids with special needs, we find ourselves sometimes celebrating things that, I'm in a group with some other moms with special needs kids, either adopted internationally or through foster care or domestic. And there are times that we're celebrating a child taking a step, or climbing a stair or saying a word, at a much later age than a typical child would. And sometimes, it's behavioral things, just little things like that they didn't throw a 3-hour fit, or, they accepted the answer no. And sometimes it's easy to miss those moments. But sometimes you have to kind of really go, okay, I said no. And the child was like, okay, whatever.
Right.
And not upset about it.
No, and I can even think of when the other day is we had a teen that apologized. Mm-hmm. And that was huge. It actually
it took about 6 hours. But
No, but it actually saved this kiddo from getting disciplinary measures, because I was just so impressed that they actually said, you know what, I'm sorry.
And was able to say why and owned up. And that's huge for our kids.
That's
and sometimes
huge.
It's just, the fact that there's lots of different reasons.
Yeah.
So Wendy's saying, thanking them and rewarding them. That she was back to the residential. The child going to residential has a 14-year-old biological brother that doesn't understand why his brother can't stop and be happy. And I think, we see a lot of that just in all situations with our kids. We've had kids say, well, I was in the same home and the same things happened to me, so why am I not responding that way?
Right.
And we've had some of those conversations with the kids in our house, and just kind of talking through how things affect different people differently, and maybe, seeing through the other child's lens or whatnot.
Absolutely. No, you guys are all amazing. This is great. Good stuff. Wendy, I hate you're going through those feelings, though. That's rough. That is really rough. I honestly 100% from experience can say that's rough. Mm-hmm. And I hate that for any of us. I'm glad you're there for your kids, though. Because, the opposite end of the spectrum is think about the kids having to deal with it on their, like, it would be, no matter, it sounds like if it was court ordered, it was gonna happen sometime to someone, sometime. And then if you're not there and you're out of the picture, these kids are having to deal with it on their own, or maybe with someone that isn't as knowledgeable as you. And so then think about where they're at then.
Yeah. So and just the fact that you're on here with us and seeking other people who've been through that goes to show that you're, and you do have your hands full. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Not awesome.
Yeah, not awesome. Awesome that she's doing an awesome job, I guess.
Glad that you're here.
Yes. Listen to what I mean, not what I say. You didn't hear what I meant? All right. Yeah, we can keep giving advice and suggestions on that if you guys have any other questions. We are going to try to end on time today at 6 o'clock. And while you guys are giving suggestions.
6 o'clock or 5:45? I thought you usually ended at 5:45.
Usually at 5:45, but we're doing good on conversation right now. Usually we keep it to an hour. So I will.
Yeah. So Wendy says people continue to want me to walk away. I refuse to give up. And you get people on both sides. You get people that are telling you you've done enough. Walk away. And you get people that are like, can't understand.
Why you would keep going.
No, can't understand that the situation of having to put a child into residential or kind of the circumstances, what might make a disruption happen in foster care and whatnot. Until you've kind of walked in those shoes, it's hard. So it's helpful to have connections like this.
I will share real quick, everyone, that Transfiguring Adoption is in the middle of our Best Foster Parent in the U.S. Award. We've had some great nominees nominated to us, and just so everyone understands how it works is we get all the nominations, and then we present those to our, we have members who have, they call themselves the Elf Squad. They do paid memberships, and we present that to our paid members as well as our non-paid members who volunteer with us. And they take a few days to vote on the nominees who they think should be the finalists, and we pick 3 finalists from the U.S. out of that way. And then the second phase we're in right now is which we have our website up, and you can go on our website, and I will post that up here pretty soon here, and you can go on there and you can vote for who you believe is deserving of the title as Best Foster Parent in the United States. And we got this, I'll post that link here pretty soon. I'm gonna unpin this comment. Go ahead, you can read their stories. We have some really great stories on there of some foster parents that are deserving. The reason we call this award also the Hannah Eimers Award. Hannah Eimers was one of our volunteers who we met through several events. And she had several foster and adoptive brothers and sisters. So many adoptive brothers and sisters, actually. And she really cared about orphans and foster kids. She was in her teens, late teens, and she was tragically killed in a car accident around late October a few years back. And so it was just really sad to see her go and to remember her and her passion for the orphans. We made this event called the Best Foster Parent in the U.S. Award, the Hannah Eimers Award. So the person that wins this award next month will be given a plaque that actually looks like a book, and you open it up and it has their name inscribed on it and everything like that, and the clock, and it's all neat. And we have Jessica Kingsley Publishing. I want to throw out a shout out to them. They are donating several books. Adoption at the Movies is also donating a book. And we have some just goodies from us and different things like that. So it's a great prize package. And just what we end up doing then is we talk to agencies and try to see if they will do something to throw like an award ceremony or something for that person. So definitely go on the website, check it out, share it, and vote for who you think should be the best foster parent in the U.S. Award. Sounds like we have a lot of great foster and adoptive parents on here, though. So we do this every year, though. So definitely.
So this is only the second year. Last year, someone won actually in Orlando. And the agency did a phenomenal job of getting the media there. And that's kind of one of the things we want to do is just bring awareness and just some visibility to the great foster parents, because foster and adoptive parents often get painted in a bad light in the media or in different, as in media, as in news, but also in media in terms of books and movies, that kind of thing. So it's a great way to get just to spotlight.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, from all of you that we're hearing from today, like, you guys are doing amazing work. And so we want the media and different places to know that there are people like yourselves that are out there busting your tails every day, trying to make the right decisions, trying to do what's best for your children. And we want them to know that it's not easy. And we think that people deserve to be heard and recognized. We know firsthand that that makes all the difference. Just some encouragement and a little bit of hope can go a long ways, especially when you're on this journey. So take some time out to support these other caregivers. That would be great. Yeah, and Wendy is commented too, from going back what she was saying about with her kiddo going to residential, that her house is completely different when he's gone, quiet and peaceful. His brother has gotten comfortable with him being gone to detention. I have to remind him this is his brother's home too. So yeah, it is. It's
the whole process can be difficult. I know several parents who've gone through it, and when the kids leave and then they come back, and it impacts the whole family, every person, every child, whether they're a biological sibling of the child or a foster or adopted or whatever. There's an impact. So it certainly is something that has to be worked through it with the whole family.
Absolutely. Well, we are going to wrap up, you guys, and we are at 5:50, so we're going to wrap up. If you have any other questions or comments, please leave them, because like we said, we are, even if it's not live, we're always checking things. Our leadership volunteers are always checking things and alerting us to stuff. So we are watching throughout the week, and we do watch old posts and different notifications. So again, we are always on YouTube and Facebook every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Help us share and get the word out about this. Again, this has been a great conversation because we have so many people on here talking and giving advice and sharing. So the larger this gets, the more that we will have on here. I am trying to get some professionals and some just fun people to talk with. I'm going to see if I can get Jen Ellers, who's one of our ELF squad leaders, to come on here and kind of talk to you guys about some different things, that what an ELF squad looks like, because we talk about that a lot. And we've told you it's people that aren't fostering, usually they aren't fostering or adopting, but they just want to support you guys. I would love for her to come on here and kind of share about that. I'd like to see if I could get Allison Douglas on here. She is an awesome professional in the industry. She is also an adoptive parent, and she loves to learn about resources and ways to help kids from traumatic places. And she is definitely in the fight and the journey with you guys.
She also has 4.
And she can empathize with a lot. So she's definitely not just going to be spitting out words, but she definitely can tell you guys where she's coming from. So I'm going to try to get some more people on here. Is there any other news or anything that you need to share with everyone?
No, we shared
best foster parent in the U.S. The other thing that we will share with you guys is to get the word out about, at the end of October, I know I've been saying it for a while, we still have spots available for our trip to Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida. It's a greatly discounted price. In some cases, it's almost $1,000 cheaper than going through the park itself. Margie and myself, along with 2 other volunteer staff members, will be taking 8 families around the park, helping with trauma behaviors, because trauma behaviors are triggered inside the park with all the noise and the sensory stuff going on. So we will be there to help you manage everything, to give you tips and tricks. Take a look at that. Go to our website at transfiguringadoption.com. We do need to get those spots filled soon. Otherwise, we're going to have to cancel the trip if we can't get all the spots filled. So we are dedicated, though, to help you making great family memories on that all-American vacation that other people get to have. And because of behaviors you didn't think you were going to be able to. So, yeah, we hope that we are helping you to nurture and grow your foster adoptive family. Thanks, you guys. Hope to see you again next week. Thank you so much. I'm signing out on Instagram.
Signing off on
Thanks,
Facebook.
You guys. Okay. And YouTube. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will talk to you later. Hope to see you here again next Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.